Good morning, everybody. Smizzy Biscuits, good morning. We're going to have a uncomfortable conversation this morning, and I really hope that everybody that's in here can be willing to listen. All the sounds are turned off. Guys, I'm mad, and mad won't really do anything, but the situation that happened in Buffalo recently where a white supremacist who was 18 years old shot and killed 10 black people and wrote the N-word on his rifle and wrote a manifesto about how he wants to kill black people. It's disgusting, first and foremost, and I thought about what's the best thing that we or I or us as a group can do right away, right now. And it's not lost on me that I started streaming almost 3 years ago, and we started streaming to stand up to racism. And we're an anti-racist, pro-love stream. And we've been met with a lot of anger and a lot of, I don't know if disrespect's the word, but a lot of people that contest every single thing we say, every step of the way. And what happened in Buffalo was a kid that's 18 years old that has no care for people of color in any way, shape, or form. It's impossible to not talk about all the things in society that are taking away representation from people of color and desensitizing young white men to their lives and their feelings and the fact that they're human beings. This is my nephew. I love him more than anything. This is him when he was young, and he's wearing a Niners jersey, and we were raising him together. One of the main reasons I stream, this is him in 2019. He's beautiful. This is him, and he's absolutely beautiful, and he's the closest thing I've ever had to a son in my life. And I'm tired of the whole bullshit. I'm tired of the way that the NHL community treats people of color. And my message was to try to get a change in hockey, to try to make it to where, at least in hockey to begin with, that we can get a change on racism, on how disgusting it is. I'm thoroughly pissed off at the amount of people who haven't answered or answered in an aggressive, angry way when I asked why Matthew Tkachuk is a Black History Month representative. I'm thoroughly pissed off now at the people that told me that saying a guy being named Scary Joey while being on a Sharks Twitch broadcast was normal and that I was overreaching by that. Guys, when we vilify everybody, when the only roles that we have for black people or people of color are angry, pissed off, mean, negative outliers and radicals, things like this can happen. I've asked for 2 years now why there's a white guy, Matthew Tkachuk, representing Black History Month on EA Sports NHL game. I've asked a lot of people that question, and I've got no answers. And the reason that that's imperative for me to talk about today is because the kid who wrote the N-word on his gun and went and shot a bunch of black people and then was taken into custody very kindly. I don't know if he plays hockey. That would be a stretch. But what I'm saying is if black people can't even represent themselves for their own Black History Month, and you're putting a white, red-haired guy there for 2 years in a row, and it's the same game that told me it's ridiculous to tell them that having white knights in it is a stretch, what you're doing is you're desensitizing young white men to people of color. You're actually encouraging them to not give a fuck about anybody of color. You're using Black History Month in it of itself that shouldn't just be a month. In some ways, it being just a month is its own bullshit, but when there's no representation, for people of color in the NHL. And we ask questions like, why did the Black Lives Matter screen get taken down in about a day? And why hasn't white Matthew Tkachuk with a pride tape with Black History Month been taken down for 2 years? The uncomfortable phrase that we're going to talk about is white supremacy. And what the NHL and a lot of companies and the country as a whole is doing is they're telling young white men that they're more important. They're literally in EA Sports have a young white man who's representing Black History Month. This idea where we're making excuses for every single thing that white men do, and if we don't, we're canceling them. It's causing a lot of this. And I can't be quiet about it because I wake up every morning terrified that my nephew's going to stand up for himself in an extremely fair way and be killed. Or maybe he'll just be grocery shopping and get shot. So all the people in the NHL community that told me that I'm overreaching or that I'm overstretching because a lot of things are I'm radical, I don't think it's a radical question or a crazy or a psycho or a crackhead question or the names I've been called to ask why there's a white male for 2 years in a row representing Black History Month on your guys' video game. Also, why it took 6 hours to take down Black Lives Matter because you got complaints from white people about how you were making your game political. So again, I'm going to speak up. I'm going to get even louder. I'm going to talk about all the racism that goes on. I'm going to ask why, when we're watching LG hockey games, there's a guy named Scary Joey that is a white kid from New Jersey that has made his skater all black and named him Scary Joey. I'm going to continue to be that guy that the whole room got mad at because I went, well, why is his name Scary Joey? Explain to me. And people get uncomfortable because I'm not gonna let all that shit continue to slide. I'm not gonna continue to be part of this NHL community that is so fucking racist that when I speak up about racism, they basically come at me and they say the guy that you said was racist is dating a girl who's Eastern Indian, so he can't be racist. It's so ridiculously fucking racist and incestual and stupid, the NHL community, that they pretend to not know how racist they are. But furthermore, it's not about just talking about that. It's about trying to get some sort of answers. Pouty, good morning, brother. And so what I'm going to ask you guys is, I don't think I've done this for anything other than when we were doing the Black Girl History Club, Black Girl Hockey Club streams. I asked everybody to follow them, and it was a great thing. Nasher followed them, EA Sports, a lot of people followed them. But most recently, I asked them the same question. I asked Black Girl Hockey Club the same question because they partnered with EA Sports and their brand is in the game, and that's awesome in a lot of ways. It's very great to have representation, having Black Girl Hockey Club in the game. But I asked them the same questions I've been asking everybody. I asked them if they're working with EA Sports, could they possibly ask why Matthew Tkachuk is the Black History Month representative. Even after doing the things that we've done, after standing up the way that we've stood up, we've been radicalized so much that for asking that question, I was blocked on Twitter by Black Girl Hockey Club. I'm not here to cry or complain or do anything like that. It broke my heart because of the things that I think we helped and we were trying to work on together. But that same question is a question that I'm going to ask right now, and I'm going to keep asking till I get an answer, no matter who blocks me or whatever. I think it's very fair, and I think it's an extremely good day to ask people why. Please tell me why Matthew Tkachuk is a Black History Month representative on your video game. Second of all, if you can't even have people of color represent themselves for Black History Month, you shouldn't be very surprised when we have white kids that are writing the N-word on their thing, on their gun, and going and attacking black people. And if people want to twist my words and say that it's NHL's fault that this happened, you're disgusting. You're a gross, gross person. What I'm saying is we have to be serious and honest about all the things that are going on around us. We have to ask questions, and we have to ask the uncomfortable questions. If I get blocked by anybody for asking them why white red-headed Matthew Tkachuk is representing Black History Month for 2 years in a row, then it's impossible in a lot of ways for me to believe that that person has the same anti-racist message as me, no matter what that is. So we didn't get into this to send people to hockey rinks so they could be treated racist. We didn't get into this to just play hockey and not talk about things. So I'm gonna ask you guys. I'm gonna actually beg you guys. Anybody that has Twitter, to in a very tough and a very hard day to do it. I've thought about the pros and the cons of this. I think today is a very important day for us to ask EA Sports why Matthew Tkachuk is their representative for Black History Month 2 years in a row. And it's not about right or wrong. It's about if you can't correlate not having any representation for Black people around any of these white kids, even on Black History Month, to desensitizing white kids to the lives of other people, of people of color, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to talk to people that can't see the correlation, where we have white Jesus hung up everywhere. We now have white Black History Month representative everywhere. And people are so shocked that a dude went in, shot a bunch of Black people, and then got a safe ride to the county jail. I mean, maybe, I don't know, did he get Burger King the way Kyle Rittenhouse did? Did they buy him Burger King on the way? So I'm not going to be silent about it. I'm not going to apologize for the things that we talk about, because literally at this point, everybody kind of being like, shut up for 3 years and don't talk about it. It's going to continue to cause things to seep outside of the hockey ring, outside of video games, to everything. And so I'll ask you guys to ask that same question. I'm going to put it up on my Twitter again today. I'm not going to be abrasive or aggressive about it because there's people who lost loved ones. And I hope you can understand that out of respect for those people, we need to ask NHL and EA Sports why that makes any sense. It's out of respect for that. Guys, I live in a town where yesterday, before I heard the news, I and my wife were writing a letter to the ACLU to look into a certain story locally that happened, where a 62-year-old Spanish woman, Dolores Hernandez, was shot 7 times behind her left ear by 2 Reading police officers who absolutely aggressed the whole situation. They made the situation go the way it did. And I'm saying this because I live in this town, and I know how white dudes treat their mother, and I know how they treat women the same age that aren't white women in this town. It's very, very racist. It's very, very disgusting. The NHL community is a lot the same. I see a lot of parallels, but with a whole lot of respect to everybody, and as uncomfortable as it may be, I'm begging you. And I know it's not fair, and it's not just for him. This is me personally. I'm not standing up against racism just for him, but you damn sure he's a lot of my motivation. I'm asking you guys to ask EA Sports and ask NHL community and ask everybody on a day like today why it ever made sense for us to take Black Lives Matter off a screen after 8 hours, and then why we put Matthew Tkachuk on a game that already has White Knights as one of their play-by-play names. All right? So I'm asking you guys to ask the same questions. I love you guys. I consider every one of you family. But I need to know the same thing. I've been losing sponsorships, been losing friends, been losing everything because apparently I just can't get over it because I'm crazy. I'm wondering why Black Lives Matter got taken off of the EA Sports NHL22 game immediately, and 21 immediately when it was put up. And why for 2 years running we've had white, red-headed Matthew Tkachuk being your representative for people of color. That desensitizes these young white men to anybody that's not white. And a lot of times it's not white and male. Strong Vibes, piece of shit who is 18 years old. Now you tell me that, someone want to tell me that a lot of these guys playing this game aren't around that age? A piece of shit that was 18 years old wrote the N-word on an assault rifle. He got loaded up in camo and armor and walked into a grocery store in Buffalo, and he shot 10 black people after writing a manifesto about how he hates black people. and he got arrested without incident. He got walked into fucking jail, and he'll probably be the next Kyle Rittenhouse or George Zimmerman. Two dudes who have become famous in this country that invokes and appreciates white supremacy. But I'm a hockey player, and I'm a sportsman, and I'm a lover of people over everything. And I would really, really like it if we as an NHL community, everybody that's part of the Reef fam, can band together and ask, at least in our NHL community, why does it make sense for you to have Matthew Tkachuk as a representative for Black History Month on the same game where White Knights is a team play-by-play name? What it comes down to is it's white supremacy, and it's right here in front of us, and it's everywhere you go in every commercial. And white supremacy doesn't mean what white people want you to think it means. It's not some gang or some crazy radical conspiracy theorist. White supremacy means the idea that white people are better than everybody else. You know what would happen if you were running a video game and you were a white supremacist? You would remove black people from it, and you would put a white person in their position, even on a situation like Black History Month. So I'm going to speak about white supremacy, and I'm going to continue to speak about it. And a lot of people are going to get uncomfortable, and I give about zero fucks. But if we can't even have representatives be black for Black History Month, then people shouldn't continue to scratch their head and pretend they don't know what they're talking about. And it's a lot of very privileged white people that go, yeah, this is a one-off, or maybe he had just mental health issues, and we'll talk about everything other than the direct race issue, everything than that. We shouldn't be doing this in a country where we're having a tough time deciding if we should teach our kids about critical race theory. Like, we can't tell any of these white kids that are now becoming like fucking gunmen at 18. We can't tell any of them about the history of how racist this country has been, I guess. But we can tell them that Jesus was white, that the representative for Black History Month is white, that everything around them that's good is white, everything that's a villain, that's bad, you get blacklisted. It's a big black guy. I've been talking about this, even when we did the Scary Joey thing. It's one thing to have your name be Scary Joey and be a white kid from New Jersey that's controlling that character, and you have him all blacked out named Scary Joey. It's another thing to be on an international Sharks-backed broadcast, LG and Sharks broadcast, and having Randy Hahn, who is a legend voice for the San Jose Sharks, saying your name. You know what that does when kids are watching the game and people are kind of like, people try to be like, hey, dude, that's not a fair representation of black people. Well, by proxy, Randy Hahn is saying his name, so it can't be that bad. It totally isn't like a situation where it's some old guy that's kind of just calling whatever name you give in front of him and thinks a lot of kids have wacky names. So they took advantage of Randy Hahn to promote that this is okay to be racist. It's fucking stupid. It's stupid. You go on and you have a fucking 6-month-long bitch and complain about everything Evander Kane did, and then he's found innocent. He has his daughter. He has custody of his daughter. Right. I'm sick and tired of all the dudes in this community that are just literally full of shit. They tell me that I'm crazy because the things that I'm seeing because they've lived in a gated community, or they at least act like it. We're not going to put up with it, because like I said, desensitizing people to the fact that people of color have families, people of color have feelings, people of color have the same problems and more than you. That's called white supremacy, and it's on NHL. It's in every game, any game that you're seeing. But I don't play all the games. I play NHL, and I think it's a very good day to make this conversation more poignant. And we'll come back at 4:20. But I'm gonna put out one thing on Twitter today, and ask if you guys follow me. And we did really well by growing, and we're still very proud of it, by growing Black Girl Hockey Club. I'm very disappointed, and I think I have a right to be. Anybody that says me being a white guy, I can't have any opinions about anything that Black Girl Hockey Club does or doesn't do. I can, and it has nothing to do with anything we raised money for, you know. Sudan Brothers, Ryan Hughes, Akil Thompson, foreign players that could fill the role to be the representative, even a group of them going together. Yeah, and that's the point, Pouty. And Pouty, I also want to say I love you, bro, very much, because you being around kids and coaching kids makes me understand that if anything like that starts to pop off one way or the other, it won't go down like that, because I believe that we can change this with good men. I don't think we can change this by asking the same questions or letting things just go. But it's been 2 years now. It's been 2 years, and my wife can tell you this. I didn't see anybody else asking it, and it's not about who did, but that's the sad thing. It's been 2 years that a lot of people claim they're anti-racist, that they're on the same message as me. There's a lot of people that are anti-me asking these questions. And if I'm being anti-racist and trying to get questions answered, and you're anti this stream and you're anti-answering those questions, then with a whole lot of respect, and I'm sure you can twist these words and I might sound like an asshole to some people, but if you're anti-racist, that means you're racist or you're promoting racism. Plain and simple. So, like I said, I'm going to retweet the thing. I'll pin it to my profile. I want you guys to make sure that you have a really amazing day. We're going to come back at 4:20. This is nowhere near enough talking about it, but I want you guys to understand that every time we're in a hockey stream, we're going to have uncomfortable conversations. Every time we're in a wrestling stream, we're going to be having uncomfortable conversations, and they won't be forced. We're not going to do it just to do it. That seems ridiculous. They're going to be things that we're open to, that we're trying to learn as a group. But I love you guys very, very much. And please, like I said, don't continue to teach people that anybody that's black or any person of color doesn't have feelings or doesn't hurt. There's 10 families that are mourning, that are in so much pain, this morning. And I think that with a whole lot of respect, the least that I can do with my white privilege is try to get a black representative on NHL, like I've been for 2 years, as a Black History Month thing, because the saddest thing is that's really the least they could do, and they still didn't do that. So I'm going to try to do everything I can to make people understand that that's a real person that I love with all of my heart. NHL and a lot of places want you to be unsensitive and not care about anybody unless they look exactly like you. And right now, realistically, they really don't want you to care unless they're white. And I'm sorry if that makes somebody uncomfortable, but I'm not sorry at all. So I love you guys. We're not going to raid to anybody out of respect for the conversation that we're having. I don't want to put that on anybody else, but I'm just going to ask you to we'll make as much sense out of this as we can. I'm going to put it on Twitter again, and I beg you to just retweet or at least ask the question and understand the date and the time of the first time I asked it, please. It's imperative, because I've been asking for a really long time if we could stop letting all these white kids in LG make every representation a villain or a goon or something that you can just poke fun at. I've been asking for a really long time if we can have fair representation and quality representation, so we won't desensitize all these white kids in Canada, America, whoever, to the fact that people of color are absolutely real. They're real people. They exist even if you don't interact with them in real life. And the less sensitive we are to people that don't look like us, the more situations like this will happen. There's a gun conversation to be had. I understand that. But when everything was written out as clear as it was, we're not going to do what we've always done with race and go to the next part and try to look at all the other parts of it. We're going to stare racism right in its face, and we're going to be uncomfortable the way a lot of people said they were. And we're going to start by asking today, on a very, very important day, in my opinion, to do so, why the NHL community and EA Sports has let Matthew Tkachuk be the representative for Black History Month for 2 years in a row. So I'll put that up on Twitter. I love you guys very much. Please, like I said, control what you can control around you. Speak up. There's no sense in just getting overly involved and overly sensitized in social media. Care, but care about yourself as well so you can be the best you, okay? I love you guys very, very much, and we'll see you at 4:20 Pacific Standard Time. Be kind to everybody, male, female, whatever, whether they look like you or not. Please be kind, because you guys can change the world. I promise you. I love you guys.